My parents had me, nearly adult male, when they were 19, mom and 20 dad. We lived with my mom's parents until I was a young grammar schooler. Then my parents moved the three of us into another house and told me the reason was because they were having another kid. My parents had 5 more kids in the almost 11 years since then. My parents don't know how to be parents, and my siblings don't know how to act. They spit and mess with people's food by slobbering all over it or putting it in their own mouths and spitting it back out. They leave stuff out everywhere to rot, and they'll throw food on the floor. For example, if my mom gets frozen pizzas for dinner and there's something my siblings don't like, the topping goes on the floor. They have tantrums in public and break stuff all the time. With my youngest sibling, my parents put her in my room when she was a baby instead of theirs, and I had to wake up with her at night and deal with the dirty diapers and stuff. It was stressful. Plus, my parents are always trying to make me babysit. So last week, when my mom and dad announced mom was pregnant again, I called my grandparents so fast my head was probably spinning. I begged them to let me come live with them because I couldn't deal with it anymore. They were furious when they heard mom was expecting another kid and said yes immediately. I packed my essentials, including my passport and other papers, and left. My parents are angry because they don't have help and because I didn't talk to them about it. My grandparents dealt with my parents and their anger, but my parents called the cops on my grandparents twice already and they're threatening to sue them now. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot, and for reference, you're nearly an adult. The police aren't going to do anything, so just ignore your parents. They have no solid ground to stand on. Your parents are idiots for having a bunch of kids they don't take care of and not teaching them the basics of being human. Please check and lock down your credit, OP. This is good and important advice. Your credit rating can impact your future ability to buy a car, rent an apartment, or even get certain jobs. Make sure your parents can't steal your identity to open credit cards or get loans in your name. At your age, you're legally able to decide where you live in most places, and the cops aren't going to drag you back into free babysitter heck. And you can report your parents to CPS if you like. OP, you're not the idiot at all. You just escaped free labor heck. Your parents didn't want a kid, they wanted a built-in babysitter. The second they shoved a newborn into your room and made you do diaper duty at night, they gave up their right to be mad when you left. And calling the cops? For what? They're mad because they lost their unpaid help, not because they care about where you are. You're nearly adult, they can't force you back. Stay with your grandparents, enjoy the peace, and don't look back. Yeah, your parents don't have enough money to sue anyone. I wouldn't worry about that. I'd be petty and call CPS on them every time they called the cops. Let them explain to both the cops and CPS that they're suing the grandparents because they can't parentify their nearly adult child because of them. That's not petty, that's a necessity. And OP and grandparents shouldn't wait till the cops call on them again. They should call immediately, in my opinion. Those poor kids who are still at the house deserve so much better. They were raised to be disgusting and crappy. They did not choose to become that. OP was lucky to have been raised, partially by his grandparents till he was a young grammar schooler. The other ones never had that luck. But they could still change. I mean, the age range is tween to toddler. They need someone to care about them enough to call CPS. Many blessings to your grandparents. My 20 female sister Jess, 27, is awesome. I love her tons, but I just don't get along with her husband, Mike, 28. He's that guy who thinks he's hilarious, but his jokes always dig at someone, usually me. I've been dealing with it for years because Jess is family and I don't want to start drama. But last night I just couldn't anymore and bailed on her dinner plans for about 30 minutes before I was supposed to go. Now she's mad and I'm sitting here like, am I the idiot? So here's the deal. Mike's been this way since they got married 5 years ago. Every time we're together, he's got to say something. It's always, oh, still single, huh? Or, how's that dead-end job going with this annoying smirk? I'm not perfect. I can be sarcastic, but I usually just laugh or throw something back to keep it chill. Jess always goes, that's just how he is, don't take it personally, but it's tough when it's every damn time. Last week, Jess invited me to a family dinner at their place. She got a promotion and was all excited to celebrate with me, our parents and Mike's brother. I was pumped for her, honestly. But then she mentions Mike's been in a mood because work sucks for him lately. Awesome. I knew he'd be extra annoying, but he was probably taking shots at me to make himself feel better. I told myself I would suck it up for Jess, but the closer it got to yesterday, the more I was dreading it. Yesterday comes and I'm getting ready, psyching myself up for Mike's bull, when Jess texts me, Mike's making his famous chili tonight, hope you're ready. And I remembered the last time he made chili, like 2 years ago. He said I better eat quick before my metabolism quits. I gained like 10 pounds that year. Thanks for pointing it out, dude. It wasn't funny, just crappy. I sat there looking at my phone and I just couldn't do it. I texted her, "Hey, sorry, something came up. I can't make it tonight." No explanation, just that. She called me right away, super angry, saying I ruined her night and she was so excited to have me there. I felt like crap. She sounded legit hurt, but when I kind of hinted Mike's attitude was why, she got all defensive. "He's my husband and you can't avoid him forever." Okay, sure, but why is it always me who's got to deal with him? Parents still went and I guess it was fine, but Jess has been texting me all day with stuff like "thanks for bailing" and "hope your something was worth it." I get why she's upset, cancelling last minute sucks, and I didn't even tell her the real reason at first. Maybe I should have just said, "Look, I can't deal with Mike tonight," instead of lying. Plus, it was her big night, so I feel crappy for not going. But I'm so done being Mike's punching bag just to make Jess happy. I'm not telling her to dump him, I just don't want to keep signing up for a night of his crap. Am I the idiot? Should I have gone anyway for my sister, or am I okay to say no to her husband's bull? Not the idiot, but if you visit them again, you need to respond to his petty bullying. Sometimes direct honesty is good. Does it make you feel good to bully women? Or do you always pick on girls, or is it just me you're obsessed with? Tell your sister that if she genuinely wants a relationship with you, she needs to get her husband in check. You're no one's punching bag. If she says, "You're ruining everything," tell her that if in order to keep the peace you need to be Mike's punching bag, then yes, you're willing to ruin everything. You don't owe anyone, not even your sister, your peace of mind. The whole concept of "but we're family" is bull. Family doesn't allow family to be purposely humiliated, and jokes that hurt aren't jokes, they're abuse, period. I would tell her the truth, set boundaries and enforce them. I love you and I dread spending time with you and Mike. Mike makes it a point to be crappy to me and I'm not tolerating it anymore. You diminishing it isn't cute either. You enable him. I'm not going to be the object of Mike's frustration anymore. That means if he starts up with his comments on my job, appearance and dating status, I will leave. It's really simple. Mike stops bagging on me or I will ditch you. Every time. Then do it. You show up for dinner, he says something, you turn around and leave. No discussion, no fake apologies accepted. You leave. You go out somewhere. You get your food to go and you leave. Your parents' house, her house, an Airbnb on Saskatchewan, you're outie. I've been doing this to my mom for decades now. It's been a lot better, but once in a blue moon she needs to be reminded. You have to be 100% committed. But standing up for yourself and holding people accountable for their crap is how you win the long game. Recently, I hosted a dinner party for my husband's birthday. The whole family was there and it was nice. After dinner, I started preparing my husband's lunch for the following day. Background: my husband comes from a very liberal family. I come from a very conservative family. While I vote blue, I still have a lot of conservative tendencies, I guess. My husband makes more money and pays most of the bills, and I'm grateful for this. Because of this, I do most of the chores and cooking. I only work part-time and we don't have children, so I easily have time to do this. He makes me happy, so I try to make him happy too. Anyway, my husband and his brother work together. I pack my husband pretty nice lunches. That particular night, I was preparing him brisket sandwiches and some sides. I'd been letting the brisket smoke all day, so it was finally ready. My brother-in-law commented on how nice the brisket smelled and how jealous he was that my husband always had such good lunches. He said he'd be lucky if his wife would pack him a ham and cheese sandwich. His wife said, "You're a grown man, you can make your own sandwiches," which made me laugh because it's true. He got mad and pointed out that I work part-time, but I still make the time to cook for my husband, and since she doesn't work at all, she should have plenty of time. At this point, I was super uncomfortable and disappeared to a part of the kitchen where I couldn't see them. They got into a screaming match until eventually my brother-in-law went outside to smoke. Sister-in-law came into the kitchen to heat up a bottle for their youngest. She tore into me and said that I should have waited till after they left to start on lunch, but they tend to leave really late, and by that point I'm ready to pass out. She said that he always gives her crap for not packing him lunches and that I should let my husband deal with his own lunch for a change. I told her that her marriage is her business, and if she doesn't want to make lunches for her husband, that's fine, but I'm going to do what I want to do. My marriage is a lot happier than hers, so I must be doing something right. and she needs to mind her own business. I also pointed out that brother-in-law had always been an idiot his whole life, and if she didn't like it, she shouldn't have picked him as the guy she wanted to marry and have kids with. Am I the idiot? The whole family kinda thinks sister-in-law is the idiot, but I've been feeling guilty. Not the idiot. Making lunches for your husband is separate from having your sister-in-law make her husband lunches. It sounds like her husband is jealous, but it doesn't mean you have to stop what you're doing just because someone else doesn't like it. Exactly. OP making lunch for her husband has nothing to do with her sister-in-law's marriage, and her brother-in-law needs to quit being salty and pack his own damn sandwich. Also, my sister-in-law is literally raising kids. That's a full-time job, and the brother-in-law acting like she's just sitting around all day is straight up disrespectful. Dude needs to stop comparing marriages and start appreciating his own wife instead of whining about what's on his plate, or not. Brother-in-law has no appreciation for what child raising takes. He probably sulks because his wife is more focused on the baby, not on him so much. A lot of folks underestimate how much work childcare is. It's exhausting. I had a few fights back when my daughter was little. One time I finally had enough and I left my daughter with my husband for a couple of hours. I hadn't had a break in 2 years. I went to a friend's house and took a nap. When I came home, he was sitting on the sofa with our daughter. The place was a wreck and she was hitting him with one of her toys. He saw me walk in, handed her to me and went to bed. He didn't complain after that, LOL. You are the idiot. Why did you not just point out that it's a lot easier for you to do the chores and prepare food because you have no children to raise? She's doing a great job and doesn't deserve to be spoken to like that. And that you probably wouldn't be making lunches if you had children to mind, which is the truth. Kids are a 24-hour full-time job and insanely exhausting. You have time to smoke brisket, she doesn't. That you'll send in extra sandwiches once a week for him if he's nice to her and apologizes to her. She should never have turned on you, but the level of reality check in the room was low. She has to deal with a screaming toddler crying bully over a sandwich. Have some sympathy. My daughter, pre-tween, will become a tween this year and I'm 24. She isn't my daughter but my niece. My brother died 3 years ago and after he died I took on the responsibility of raising her. I know I'm not her actual father, but since I've been raising her I feel like one, so I treat her and think of her as my daughter and do everything I can to help her. Her mom gave up on her when she was only a toddler and she never even saw her mom's brother. My brother and I tried to beg her to see her daughter and talk to her, but she flatly refused and berated us instead. 2 days ago, I asked my daughter to wash plates because I have a lot of work to do in the office, and by the time I'm back, I'll be too exhausted and we'll order something to eat instead of cooking. She said she didn't want to. I told her that she could at least help me by washing a couple of plates, but she said she wouldn't. I told her that she had to. No excuses. She got angry and said I'm not even her father and I don't get to command her. I was angry, extremely angry, not at her but at what she said. I changed the diaper and put her first above all else and raised her and do everything for her, and yet she says to me that I'm not her father, just because of this? I told her that it was okay if she didn't want to. I'll hire a maid, and since I'm not her father, I'll stop talking to her, or she can go live with her grandparents. She screamed, fine, and went back to her room, and thankfully she never said anything about going to her grandparents. I'm currently so stressed I have no idea what to do. I don't know why she's acting like this suddenly, and it's extremely painful for me to see her ignoring me. I still cook for her and do my best to do what's necessary for her, and I even talk to her teacher, but she's being so difficult. You are the idiot, friend. You're not going to have a good time during puberty. She's a child, and children say hurtful things sometimes when they're upset or don't get their way. The best thing to do is speak to her and explain that you're doing your best for her. Not speaking to her will only make her feel more disassociated. Don't ignore her. Wait till tensions aren't so high to explain things to her. You're only 24 and this situation is undoubtedly very hard for you. Respect to you for stepping up. Please hear what I have to say with an open mind and not defensiveness because I'm not trying to be hurtful. The silent treatment is emotional abuse. Having raised 2 non-biological children whose father died, I would tell her, true, I'm not your biological father and I can never replace your father. I would never try to take anything about your father away from you. But I chose to become your dad for the rest of our lives because I love you and I loved your dad, my brother, and we've all got to work together now. She lost her dad and her mom. She's afraid she'll lose you too. You threatening to ship her off and refusing to talk to her only instills in her further that anyone and everyone can and will abandon her. which will cause her to push you and any other important person throughout her life away. Scenarios like this will continue to play out until you finally send her away. Please communicate with your daughter before it's too late. Ever since my baby was born, my mother-in-law has been constantly second-guessing me. At first, it was little comments. "Oh, you do it like that? Huh." But lately, it's like she's trying to catch me messing up. For context, my relationship with my mother-in-law has always been polite, but not exactly close. She's always been a little overbearing, but since I had the baby, it's like she's taken it to a whole new level. She suddenly acts like she's the parenting expert and I'm just some clueless rookie. My husband is her only son, and I honestly think she still sees him as a little boy rather than, an adult with his own family. She's always been a bit opinionated, but now it feels like she's going out of her way to prove she knows better than me. She keeps making these weird little tests. She'll tell me to put socks on the baby, and the second I do, she'll go, "Oh, now she's too hot." Or she'll say I should let her cry for a bit, and the moment I do, she's like, "A good mother would know when to step in." No matter what I do, she finds a way to make it wrong. It's just constant little digs, like she's waiting for me to fail at something so she can make a comment. The final straw? My baby was fussy, and my mother-in-law handed her to me with a smirk and said, "Let's see if she even stops for you." Like she was waiting for me to fail. I was already exhausted, and that was just too much. It felt like she wasn't even trying to hide it at that point. I snapped and told her, "I'm not playing this game with you." Now she's acting like I was rude for no reason, and told my husband I need to apologize. He thinks I should just let it go, but I'm tired of her treating me like I have to prove myself as a mother. It's exhausting. I don't know how much more of this I can take. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. You need to start calling her on it. For example, with the socks, you should have responded, "Yes, putting those socks on her was not a very good idea. I shouldn't have listened to you and gone with my gut feeling on that." Or, "Yeah, I shouldn't have listened to you when you said to let her cry. I need to stop listening to other people and do what I feel is right." If it keeps up, ask her directly, "Why do you keep giving me such terrible advice? It's like you're setting me up to fail." Exactly. Why do you keep giving me such terrible advice? I would add, I don't know how my husband even survived. Telling her to get out of your house is also an option. Don't count on her to be reasonable. She's clearly not. You have a mother-in-law problem and a husband problem. He needs to call her out and set boundaries. How much of a mummy's boy is he? He chose to make a family with you, and he needed to set some boundaries with her. Tell him that if she can't behave and apologize for being rude, she's no longer welcome in your house, and he can go visit her alone.